Tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
The ASG Senate approves punishment for President Cristina Salento and Vice President Max Vincent.
From the Park School of Evanston to Northwestern, special needs students learn valuable work skills.
Students and faculty take a stand against sexual assault during the annual Take Back the Night March. All those stories and more
coming up next on the Northwestern News Report. It's your news right now.
I'm happy that Christine and Max will be apologizing on behalf of their campaign and on behalf of Christine herself and to the students that did endorse them. But at the same time,
after days of anticipation and hours of debate, a verdict was finally reached in the ASG Scandal. That's our top story this evening.
Good evening, I'm Isa Gutierrez.
And I'm Tal Axelrod. Thanks for joining us. The Associated Student Government election scandal that has been unfolding over the past few weeks came to a highly anticipated end last Wednesday. We streamed the ASG Senate meeting that determined the fate of President Cristina Salento and Vice President Max Vincent live on our Facebook page in a broadcast. NNN's Andrew Merica was at that meeting as well and has the highlights.
From celebration to accusation.
First, some breaking news. It was revealed earlier today that a member of the ASG Election Commission allegedly leaked information about the vote to Salento.
To finally conclusion.
And by a vote of 26 to 9 to 1 abstention, the recommendation does pass.
The last 2.5 weeks have been a whirlwind of unprecedented confusion and controversy surrounding ASG President Cristina Salento and Vice President Max Vincent. After the ASG Election Commission recommended early last week that punishment be levied on Salento and Vincent, it was up to the Rules Committee to decide exactly what punishment and the Senate to accept or reject that punishment. Shelby Reitman, ASG parliamentarian, was Chief Justice of the Rules Committee.
We thought very long and hard and went through a whole bunch of different possibilities, both things that were a lot less severe and a lot more severe.
Last Wednesday night began at 5:30 when the Rules Committee heard arguments from Salento and Vincent as well as from the Election Commission in a closed-door hearing. The Senate meeting began late at 7:30 while the Rules Committee went into further deliberations in a private meeting. At 8:45, the Rules Committee returned, and after a short recess, the committee proposed their punishment for Salento and Vincent. For Vincent, the proposed punishment was 2 public apologies on behalf of the campaign. For Salento, the proposed punishment was 2 public apologies as well, along with individual apologies to the heads of clubs that endorsed her and 10 hours of community service.
I think that, regardless of what Rules decided tonight and regardless of what Senate decided tonight, I was planning on issuing a public apology, a public statement, and really, kind of explaining where I was coming from and just apologizing for the entire situation and my role in it.
After the proposal, Salento, Vincent, and the Election Commission left the room, and the senators began a very passionate debate.
Could you go to the students in Northwestern and say, someone cheated in the last election, and we as a student government decide the appropriate response was an apology and expect to be taken seriously?
I feel like it's appropriate that their whole campaign not be punished so severely because they didn't have any violation that was extremely warranting of an extreme reaction.
To see so many people so passionate about what was going down in that room today reminded me that there is a certain legitimacy to those members who ran.
After over an hour of debate, the Senate voted by secret ballot 26 to 9 to 1 to approve the punishment. At 10:45 p.m., the night was finally done. Andrew Merica, Northwestern News Report.
Salento and Vincent are expected to release public apologies on the website Medium tomorrow before issuing their remaining apologies at the weekly ASG Senate meeting.
Pressure from students and faculty led to the removal of Carl Eikenberry as executive director of the Buffett Institute. Provost Dan Linzer notified members of the institute in an email sent on Thursday. The announcement comes after 46 faculty members wrote a letter to the Daily Northwestern voicing their concern about the appointment. Eikenberry is a former U.S. Army lieutenant. He holds a master's degree from both Harvard and Stanford. Some faculty and students are concerned that he doesn't have a PhD and hasn't been published in a peer-reviewed journal. Many are also concerned that his ties to the U.S. military will undermine the Institute's emphasis on the humanities and could jeopardize the Institute's academic independence. Matt Herndon, who co-authored an ASG resolution to rescind Eikenberry's appointment, says the leadership of the Buffett Institute has a lot of power at Northwestern.
Faculty pressure was very important in this, but I think it's an opportunity for really a collaborative process to make sure that the next director who's appointed is much more representative of faculty needs.
Nothing has been announced yet about Eikenberry's replacement.
Lisa Gartner is a Medill graduate and now a Pulitzer Prize winner. Gartner received journalism's highest award for local reporting after her investigation into struggling elementary schools in Florida. I spoke with her earlier today to learn more about her work. So Lisa, thank you very much for joining us. How did you feel when you found out that you won the Pulitzer?
Well, it was really exciting. I don't think that's a surprise. We definitely don't do this kind of work for awards, but it's certainly nice to be recognized. And we're still continuing to work on the series and tracking the developments. So we're keeping going with it. The Pulitzer isn't the end for us.
Mm-hmm. And walk me through the process a little bit of how you discovered this story and then what your reporting process was like.
Well, I will say that I don't feel like we discovered the story. I feel like the community in South St. Petersburg had been venting their frustrations for a very long time about these problems, about the lack of a quality education their children were getting, but they just weren't being heard or listened to, really. So in a way, we got to be a mouthpiece for them. But I was covering Pinellas County Schools as a beat reporter with my colleague, Kara Fitzpatrick, and we just noticed, some data that we were getting. Black children were being suspended, in kindergarten, first grade at such high rates in these schools, and the test scores were at the bottom. St. Petersburg and Pinellas County is a fairly affluent area. It's not, the most dangerous or impoverished part of Florida, and yet we had 5 of the worst schools in the state for Black children's performance within a few square miles of each other in St. Petersburg. So we knew something was going wrong, and we wanted to find out what that was.
Mm-hmm. And what were your biggest challenges while reporting this story?
Oh, there were a lot of challenges. Getting the public records we needed, finding the families to speak with us, convincing teachers to talk with us. And it's a big resource issue for the newsroom, right? To dedicate a few reporters to a story for 18 months. But we're really grateful to work for the Tampa Bay Times. They were really gracious about that and making sure that the newspaper saw itself as responsible for exposing, an injustice in the community and was willing to dedicate those resources to it.
Mm-hmm. And reflecting on this experience, do you have any advice for Medill students who are going into the workforce after graduation?
Sure. I'm always a big believer of not worrying about getting the perfect job out of college or I think anywhere you go, as long as you're learning and getting better and learning from the people around you, then you're in the right place. You don't have to go to the New York Times right out of school. This isn't my first job. Just focus on your development and challenge yourself. If you don't know how to do a lot of data reporting, then learn. Don't just assume you're not a data reporter or taking on a new beat that you didn't think you would cover. But yeah, I definitely didn't know how to do all the things that we ended up doing for the story when we started it. And it was a blast learning and getting out of my comfort zone. And the results have just been so gratifying. So.
All right, Lisa Gartner, congratulations and thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Gartner joins recent Medill graduate Priya Krishnakumar, who was part of the Los Angeles Times team that won a Pulitzer Prize for their breaking news coverage of the San Bernardino, California shooting in December.
Northwestern University recently joined the Star Scholars program established by the City Colleges of Chicago, offering annual scholarships of up to $50,000 from transfers from city colleges. Chicago Star Scholarship offers Chicago public high school students full scholarships for pursuing an associate degree. After completing a 2-year program at a city college, a selective group of students will have the opportunity to enroll in universities like Northwestern. Alan K. Cubbage, Vice President for University Relations, said this is not the first time Northwestern has helped Chicago public school students.
So Northwestern created the Good Neighbor Great University program, which is an outreach program specifically to Chicago public schools and to Evanston schools. And we've also now created the Northwestern Academy. And what that is a program for students all the way through high school, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, to get them to consider and to help them prepare for admission to college. So the university is very committed to bringing in more students from Chicago.
The first group of Star Scholar transfer students is expected to enroll at Northwestern in fall 2017, according to Cubbage.
Up next, we give you a look at Northwestern's Earth Day celebrations.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
As the spring weather warms up and lawmakers across the globe work to curb the effects of climate change, students are working to educate their peers on environmental issues. We asked NNN's Jamie Leventhal to find out how.
Campus workers began early last Friday morning, throwing large bags of garbage from Northwestern's Technological Institute onto a pre-made wooden structure to create Mount Trashmore. The completed mountain of trash stood about 10 feet high and stuck out from its beautiful springtime surroundings.
While this pile may seem substantial, it actually accounts for about 6 to 7 hours of trash accumulated on Northwestern's Evanston campus.
It's a visual representation of how much waste we generate on campus. We do Mount Trashmore and hope to engage people in awareness around how much trash we generate and how to reduce their waste.
Kay Helene, an employee at the Office of Sustainability, worked with student volunteers and spent the day passing out free reusable water bottles, shopping bags, sporks, and stickers to help students reduce their waste. Many Northwestern students, like McCormick Jr. Rohan Mehta, showed their support for the event on their way to class.
I think people should be using especially reusable water bottles. I started using water bottles and then thermoses for coffee, and I save so many cups every day. So I think even small things like that, little initiatives around campus, make a huge impact if everyone kind of pulls their weight.
Mount Trashmore may seem substantial, but it's actually been decreasing over the past 8 years due to Northwestern's emphasis on recycling programs.
Look in there and you can see that there are things in there that could be recycled, and you can see that there are things in there that you could have used a reusable instead of a disposable. And that's what we want people to understand, that there's a lot more we can do.
Jamie Leventhal, Northwestern News Report.
Northwestern currently recycles about 39% of its waste. The Office of Sustainability aims to increase its recycling rate to 80% in the next 4 years.
We wanted to know what you think Northwestern can do to be more environmentally friendly. We asked you about it on this week's edition of Rock Talk.
There's a lot of trash cans that are really good for recycling, and they're ones put for trash, but a lot of times I find that you're missing one of the three
These signs like taped on the ground are kind of dirty, like it always like rains and snows and stuff, so that always doesn't really look appealing to the eye.
All right, I think Northwestern is already pretty environmentally safe. I think we do a good job of having recyclable cans around and just having energy efficient buildings and stuff, and that's about it. We're doing a good job.
If you have an idea for a future Rock Talk topic, tweet at us at NNN_news. And coming up, an exclusive look at one local special education school that has been volunteering their time at Northwestern for years.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Let's take a look at your 5-day weather forecast. We had some great weather this past weekend, but don't put away your jackets just yet, because this week we'll see temperatures back in the 40s and 50s. Wednesday there will be evening showers with a high of 51 and a low of 44 degrees. Thursday we'll see some more rain, this time with a high of 47 and a low of 44. Friday will be sunny again, but still in the lower 50s with a high of 52 degrees and a low of 46. Rain is expected again for both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday will have a high of 56 and a low of 48, and Sunday with a high of 54 and a low of 46 degrees. Sunday is May 1st, but more showers are expected, so we might have a few more April showers before our May flowers. This has been Meredith Sonnefeld with your 5-day weather forecast.
Students from a special education school in Evanston have been coming to Northwestern for over 10 years as part of a learning experience. NNN's Michelle Beck has the exclusive coverage. Michelle?
Thanks, Tal. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a group of 4 girls and teachers arrive on campus. But their learning takes place not in a classroom, but in a dining hall.
You may recognize them as they wash your tables at Allison Dining Hall. As part of a transition program, these students come from the Park School, a self-contained special education school that serves students from ages 3 to 22. This program in particular serves students 17 and above, helping them develop skills necessary in adult vocational life. Students begin their day by meeting with their teachers and reviewing their individualized to-do list. The list outlines tasks such as washing hands, wiping crumbs into a bucket, and spraying tables. Marie-Claire Wolfson, one of the students who come regularly to Allison, expressed that her favorite part about working here is washing the table. The students end their days at Northwestern by eating lunch at the dining hall. Choosing what to eat and using utensils to grab the food among peers have educational benefits. According to Gail Gordon, the transition and vocational coordinator at the Park School, community is an essential element of this learning process.
None of these particular students are going to be competitively employed, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to, continue to learn and to grow. So being here gives them the opportunity to be just part of a community, and just be a regular person somewhere.
Gordon also says that interaction with more university students will be beneficial. Using her communication device, Stephanie Juarez explains how she feels while spending her mornings at Northwestern. Michelle Beck, Northwestern News Report.
You can find another group working at Sargent Hall on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Sexual assault is a growing problem on college campuses. At Northwestern, NU College Feminists is combating sexual assault by raising awareness and supporting survivors. NNN's Bria Kalpin has more.
Although college campuses are meant to be safe spaces for students, safe may be the last word some women would use to describe their universities. This concern brought many students to the Rock on Thursday evening to march in solidarity with survivors of sexual assault as a part of the Northwestern College Feminists' annual Take Back the Night March. The event began with a keynote address by Olivia Ortiz, a senior at the University of Chicago and a victim of sexual assault. After reporting her attack, Ortiz received neither aid nor support from the university, and her attacker was not reprimanded for the assault. Due to the circumstances of her situation, Ortiz says universities should do more to help women who have been victimized.
They can provide education to students about consent and about their rights under Title IX. They can enforce their own policies, so by punishing rapists stringently. And then they can also invest in resources on campus.
According to the National Sexual Assault Research Center, 1 in 5 women are sexually assaulted while in college, and more than 90% of sexual assault victims on college campuses do not report the assault. As a way of expressing their support of survivors, students, faculty, and family members marched down Sheridan Road while chanting and carrying signs and banners. Kendall Spear, co-chair of the event, said she hoped the attendees left feeling inspired.
I hope that the survivors feel empowered, feel like they have a community behind them.
In an effort to fight back against sexual violence, freshman Emma Sarapo attended the event and explained that a little support can make a big difference.
Until every campus, everywhere, is a completely safe space, and until every space in the world, until sexual violence is eliminated, it is a pertinent issue. So I just felt like standing and listening to survivors and walking to Norris is the very least of the work that I can be doing.
Bria Kalpin, Northwestern News Report.
The NU College Feminists also held various events on campus throughout the week to show their support for victims of sexual assault. Coming up, it was senior day in Evanston. See how the women's softball team fared.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
And now Megan O'Brien with our sports news.
It was senior day for the Northwestern softball team, and those seniors had something to prove last weekend against Michigan State as the Wildcats try to inch their way back to 500 in hopes of earning a regional berth. Senior day in Evanston, you see there Kristen Wood getting honored. She didn't start the game off too well. There's Celeste Wood rips a home run over the left field wall to put Michigan State on the board first. But the Cats respond. Andrea Filler to dead center. That one's out of there. Her first of the day for the senior. She was due all weekend, but she made up for it on Sunday. No, you're not seeing double. Here's Filler again with a home run to give the Cats a 5-1 lead. But Michigan State would not make it easy. Here's Leah Forster. She hits that one out of here. Gone. Michigan State inching their way back, but Morgan Nelson with 2 runners in scoring position gives Northwestern an 8-3 lead. Cats just 1 out away from the win, but Lindsey Besson had another plan. She drives that one out of the park, but Amy Letourneau takes care of business and fans Lexi White to give the Cats a win and sweep on the weekend. Andrea Filler had a big day, driving out 2 home runs. Brooke Marquez and Krista Williams each had a double, and Amy Letourneau fanned 6 Spartans in the circle. Wildcats improved to 19-23 on the season as the team looks to chase 500 mark and try to make an NCAA regional. There was more action on the diamond, this time the baseball team, as they played host to the Minnesota Gophers last weekend. And the Gophers, they brought the brooms with them to Rocky and Bernice Miller Park, sweeping the Cats in a 3-game series. On Friday, the Cats were able to keep it close, mostly in part due to Reed Mason, as he fanned 4 on the day, doing what he does best. Joe Hoshite got the Northwestern offense started as he sends this one on a ride. It's a triple. Hoshite went 2 for 5 on the day, and that's nothing new for the junior. Next up, it was Jack Clays, and he does his job with Hoshite safely over at third. Jack Clays drives one to deep center. Take a look at that. Back, almost out of the park. But Minnesota's able to scoop it up. That would score Hoshite, put the Cats on the board first. Minnesota would not let the Cats get too far ahead as Toby Hansen hits a 2-run bomb over the left field wall. And the Gophers lead at 4-1. Cats are looking to rally, but it might be a little too late. 2 bases loaded for Jack Dunn. He rips a single to right, score a pair of runs, make it 6-3. Cats would score another pair, but the late rally would not be enough and the Cats would fall by a final of 6-5. Reed Mason had 4 strikeouts on the day, while Joe Hoshite had a triple, scored a run, and Jack Dunn and Jack Clays both had RBIs. Northwestern's 6-5 loss to Minnesota on Friday.
Thanks for joining us, Megan. And when we come back, we'll take a look at Northwestern's first ever gender inequality run.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
A Northwestern student group has decided that instead of just taking a stand against gender inequality, they're going to run against it. NNN's Andy Weir was there at iGEM's inaugural Run the World 5K.
Blue skies greeted runners on the Lakeville Sunday morning as they gathered to run for gender equality. Northwestern's International Gender Equality Movement Club, iGEM, organized the race in an effort to raise awareness and funds for the United Nations Girl Up women's education program. iGEM Campus Events Chair Ariel Zimmerman had been working out the logistics of Sunday's event for months.
We are a chapter of the UN Foundation Girl Up. So Girl Up basically works with girls in developing countries, approximately 6 countries around the world, to implement initiatives for health, safety, and wellness. And so this is actually raising money for Girl Up, specifically towards girls' education in India. And so we just wanted to draw attention to our cause and bring people out on a lovely spring day to run for girls' education.
The theme of this year's 5K was child marriage and delaying the age that young women get married. But this was just part of a larger message for the event, iGEM co-founder Carly Pablos says.
We have two missions for IGEM. One is to plan community development events that engage adolescent girls in the Evanston, Chicago area. And then the other mission that we have is planning campus events that fundraise, advocate, and raise awareness for UN programs targeted at adolescent girls.
Reaction to the race was overwhelmingly positive. Runner Martin Majewski was particularly thrilled with the friendly race staff.
It was great. I've been to a couple 5Ks on the Lakeville, and sometimes the directions aren't great, and there's not enough staff, but everyone here is so happy and so helpful. The bagels are great, the water, it's just a good atmosphere.
Andy Weir, Northwestern News Report.
And that's all we have for you tonight. I'm Tal Axelrod.
I'm Megan O'Brien for sports.
And I'm Isa Gutierrez. Good night.